I'm the CTO managing partner of Digital Film Tree, and over the past 3 to 4 years, I don't know how any other better way to put this, I've become a very fatigued and tired man. This business, which I love so dearly, I'm so passionate about, and I want to see this industry succeed. For the past 3 to 4 years, every time I've given a cloud presentation, I've gotten flack, questions about what the cloud is, what the internet is, so forth and so on. But 2016, this finally is a turning point. And I knew it was a turning point because I gave an HPA presentation and I got no snide remarks about the cloud or what the cloud is or how the cloud's a fallacy and it's a fantasy and so forth and so on. So what we're really presenting is that we've done practical television shows on top of cloud infrastructure. So just some of the shows we have on cloud infrastructure right now, real expensive, multi-million-dollar television shows on top of cloud infrastructure. And how we do this, and there's a bunch of different parts and pieces and how we do conform on the cloud and how we do storage on the cloud and so forth and so on. But for us, the real driver to the cloud was just this explosive growth in shooting all over the world. So, we were constantly getting asked, oh, can you go do dailies on this show in Africa? Can you go do dailies on this show in Vancouver or Toronto or so forth and so on? Really diversifying around the world in terms of shooting locations, really pushing us to be location agnostic with the services we offered. So really pushed us forward in terms of cloud infrastructure. The other thing that really drove us to cloud is people are shooting too much material. The amateur has become the professional has exited out of the creative side of this business. People don't plan anymore. It's all digital, shoot as much as you want. You'll capture something funny in the 10 hours of content that you shoot in a day. So we have a show that shoots on average 216,000 minutes of material. That gets whittled down to 44 final minutes of material. And what I'm going to be talking about today is really ingesting that 216,000 minutes of material into the cloud, into cloud storage, using cloud compute, to really deal with that amount of material and deal with this crazy process where we have to whittle this down to 44 minutes. So for us, obviously, it all comes down to processing data, storing data, and moving data. Video, whatever it may be. And productions contain so much different types of data at this point. So it's not just video and audio. It's also documentation. It's metadata surrounding that. So it's keeping intact this entire process as we move through the beginning of the production lifecycle. So how we do this, quite honestly, is we put thick clients out into the field. So we put a thick client out on private cloud as close to the physical production as we can get. So we interface with providers like SohoNet and Equinix, different co-location providers. Almost anywhere in the world, we can find a colo with decent enough bandwidth that we can stick a thick client in there and begin the ingestion of the dailies process from that point. And then obviously we run private cloud in Los Angeles, and we connect these two items together via cloud to complete the ingest process. So we have our private cloud running here at our facility, which is an emphasis on storage and also compute. And then we have that thick client in the field with an emphasis on compute and sort of de-emphasizing storage mainly for space reasons and just capacity reasons. So the key to really transporting dailies, which is really what this is all about, and then therefore transporting the raw material up to the cloud from a location, specifically if that location is bandwidth challenged, is media asset processing and media asset prioritization. So that thick client we put out in the field as close to shooting as possible is going to do two things. It's going to look at all the data and all the media that's coming into it, and it's going to make a proxy of that material, whether that be an editorial file, whether that be an H.264 viewing file. It's going to make a proxy of that file, and it's going to push that first. People want to see the material. People want to see the content. They don't care right away. They don't care in 40 minutes to an hour after their complete shooting about the raw content. And the other thing that thick client's going to do is it's going to prioritize the media. Because one of the things we really get tripped up in this business about, especially when we talk about cloud, is we really get tripped up about, oh, I have a feature. They're shooting 8 terabytes a day. And the truth is that in this 8 to 12 hour period where you really need to start looking at material, having an editor look at material, start to make creative decisions, make sure that you shot the correct content, you don't need all 8 terabytes of that material. So the trick here is to utilize your bandwidth and to have that thick client process as much of the proxy material and make the best proxy material as you physically can, and get that over here as quickly as possible. So we typically have proxy material in Los Angeles in an editorial suite in 45 minutes to an hour after the conclusion of shooting, with some organization that happens after that. And then the balance of that material, the raw material, is pushed into cloud storage between 8 to 12 hours after the completion of shooting. So you have both, you're transporting both the raw and the proxy material, but you're prioritizing that media material. So for us, really the key to all this is about access. So obviously, we're solving some problems. They want to shoot all over the world with no care for what infrastructure may be there. They want to transport that material back. They want it back here into editorial faster than FedEx or Drive or so forth and so on. So that's all great drivers to cloud. But really what cloud offers more than anything else is accessibility. So once you have that raw material in cloud storage, you can do so much more with it than just transport it back and forth. And really what we're starting to do, especially with a lot of studios, is grant access to marketing departments, grant access to visual effects facilities, so they have earlier access to that raw material. Grant access to anybody who the studio deems worthy of having access to the raw content. And that can be provisioned and done on a moment's notice. The beauty of cloud. So it really makes the whole process a lot more efficient, even as you get into finishing the show or even archiving the show. So just a practical example of this right now on one of our shows, which is the TNT show. So we actually store all the balance of their entire season of material on cloud storage. We grant access back to TNT in Atlanta to pull promo material off that show. And then we go ahead and grant access to Encore, which does the visual effects on that show. So just a good, simple, practical use of cloud accessibility, beginning with the ingest process. So once again, just using compute, storage, and networking, but starting in the production process, starting at dailies, starting at ingest, is really how you just make the whole experience of making a television show more creative, more efficient, cheaper. Most important thing, apparently. So thank you very much.
All right, do we have any questions?
I'm utterly stunned. Normally you get quite a few questions.
Yeah, somebody going to challenge me on the efficacy of cloud?
No, not at all. Just tell me more about your storage environment and what you use, and have you weighed the costs between the old methods and the new methods in the cloud?
Sure. So we use on-premises Swift object storage. That's our primary private cloud storage, open source out of the OpenStack project. And then in terms of public cloud, we use Rackspace public cloud storage and increasingly S3 as well and Glacier on that side. And then, in terms of on-premises, there's still tape and some other physical storage as well. But balancing the financial, once again, going back to media asset prioritization, I think that's always been a misnomer, like I said, that you need to necessarily put all 8 terabytes to be accessible via quick storage. So we've just spent a lot of time, building a lot of software to make sure that we're putting the right assets in the places where people need to access them, and not necessarily eating up a bunch of expensive cloud storage if nobody's ever going to touch the file.
Can you just say a word or two about how you got comfort with the security around S3?
How I got comfortable with security around S3?
Security around S3, that your files are in fact not accessible by some...
So we built proprietary software, we encrypt at rest, and then we decrypt out of
Right, so it's all your own encryption.
Yeah, well, we're sitting on top of S3, but in this world, you have to be a post-production company and a software company, just the way it works. So, yeah, you got to roll your own if you're going to be secure. So, thank you very much.